Nikola Jokić isn't just great, he's rewriting what greatness looks like. He has 3 MVPs, which should have been 4, putting him in the same breath as the greatest to ever play.
Jokić just gets it off in time. It's up. Oh, it's good!
The fastest player ever to hit 15,000 points, 7,500 rebounds, and 5,000 assists, obliterating Larry Bird's record by 90 games. And somehow, he's still getting better, averaging a triple-double while leading the Nuggets to another dominant season in 2025. But here's the thing, his game goes beyond stats, beyond highlights, beyond anything we've ever seen before. So when you really break it all down, how good is Nikola Jokić actually? Before he became the NBA's ultimate cheat code, before the MVPs, the finals run, and the Jokić to Gordon lob show, Nikola Jokić was a second-round pick, a summer league afterthought, a backup big, a test experiment at power forward. But long before that, he was just a chubby kid from Sombor, Serbia, obsessed with 2 things, basketball and horse racing. If things had gone a little differently, he might have become a professional horse breeder instead of the best passing big man in basketball history.
Side steps for 3. No, he missed it. Jokić, long pass. Harris has it. And he puts it away.
Jokic's journey wasn't just unlikely, it was borderline ridiculous. He spent a couple of years hooping in Serbia, mostly under the radar. He wasn't putting up Wemby-like numbers overseas and wasn't the next Luka Doncic, just a talented but slow post player with elite touch and vision. NBA scouts took notice, but not enough to make him a top prospect. Tim Connolly, the Nuggets executive who drafted him, later called it optic bias. The scouting term for why Jokić was overlooked boiled down to one thing: he didn't look the part. His vertical leap at the draft combine measured just 17 inches, one of the lowest on record. Zion Williamson jumps nearly 3 times that high. Even the most ground-bound centers in NBA history like Marc Gasol and Al Jefferson would outjump him. But Jokić had otherworldly gifts that no vertical leap could measure. Footwork is sharper than most guards. Passing vision on par with Magic Johnson, and his hands are so soft they made elite touch look effortless. When the Nuggets were on the clock with the 41st pick in the 2014 NBA draft, they took a flyer. Their first pick that year was Jusuf Nurkic, a different Balkan big man who was supposed to be the centerpiece. Jokić was just a stash pick, a gamble, a second-rounder drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. When Nikola Jokić finally arrived in the NBA, he was a paradox, a 7-footer who played below the rim. He was a center who controlled the game not by speeding it up, but by slowing it down to his own rhythm. He wasn't a high flyer, wasn't an elite shot blocker, and with a 7'3" wingspan, short for a modern big, he wasn't even that long. So the idea of building a strong defense around him felt like trying to construct a fortress with no walls.
Jokić tries to spin, shoots the fadeaway. That's good!
Michael Malone, fresh off being hired as the Nuggets head coach, didn't see an immediate solution. He started Jusuf Nurkic instead, bringing Jokić off the bench. When that wasn't working, he tried playing them together, and the results were disastrous. But buried beneath all the lineup experiments and clunky rotations was a simple truth. Whenever Jokić was on the floor, Denver's offense just worked. By the end of his rookie season, the raw numbers already hinted at something special. 16.5 points, 11.6 rebounds, 3.9 assists, and elite efficiency per 36 minutes. But it was his second year when everything clicked. Midway through the season, Malone handed him the keys to the offense, making him the full-time starting center. The Nuggets didn't just improve, they exploded. With Jokić running the show, Denver became an offensive juggernaut. His numbers jumped to 21.6 points, 12.7 rebounds, and 6.3 assists, and the Nuggets' offense suddenly looked like a cheat code. From that moment on, every season was another level unlocked. By 2017 to 18, Jokić had evolved into a franchise cornerstone, averaging 18.5 points, 10.7 rebounds, and 6.1 assists per game. The following year, he made his first All-Star and All-NBA appearance while dragging Denver back to the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. Then, he led them past the Spurs in the first round, snapping a decade-long postseason series drought. And once the winning started, it didn't stop.
4 to shoot. Jokić spin, throw it up. Yes!
By 2020, Jokić had Denver in the Western Conference Finals. The next season, he made history, winning his first MVP award as the lowest drafted player ever to claim the honor. His stat line was absurd: 26.4 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 8.3 assists per game. But it wasn't just the production, it was how he did it. A 7-footer leading fast breaks, slinging cross-court passes with pinpoint accuracy, and using angles and leverage like a grandmaster on a chessboard. Then in 2022, Jokić doubled down on his dominance, winning back-to-back MVPs while averaging 27.1 points, 13.8 rebounds, and 7.9 assists. And for good measure, he became the first player in NBA history to record at least 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a single season. At this point, he had shattered every expectation anyone had for him coming out of the 2014 draft. But in 2023, he finished the job. Jokić led the Nuggets to their first ever NBA championship, delivering an all-time great postseason run. Not only did he dominate every round, but he became the first player ever to lead the entire playoffs in total points, rebounds, and assists. The stat sheet read like a video game: 30 points, 13.5 rebounds, and 9.5 assists per game in the finals. Now, 2 years later, Jokić is still producing at a ridiculous level, adding yet another MVP to his resume while making opposing defenses look completely helpless. What started as an unathletic, slow second-round pick has become a one-man offensive system.
With the 41st pick in the 2014 NBA Draft, the Denver Nuggets select Nikola Jokić.
A player who controls every aspect of the game, not through speed, but through sheer brilliance. And the scariest part, he's still getting better. For most of NBA history, basketball players had clearly defined roles. The big man camped in the paint, fighting for post position and waiting for entry passes. The guards dictated the offense, flying around the perimeter, handling the ball, and creating shots. And then you had the wings, athletic slashers who filled the gaps between the two. It was a structured, predictable system. And then Nikola Jokić showed up and decided that none of that mattered. Jokić isn't just a center. He's a point guard on the open floor, a post-up savant in the half court, and somehow a deadly pick-and-roll operator who plays both sides of the action. One possession, he's running a dribble handoff at the top of the key, throwing a no-look pass to the weak side corner. The next, he's catching a rebound with one hand and, in the same motion, launching a full-court dime like a quarterback leading his receiver into the end zone. It doesn't even make sense. But that's Jokić. His passing vision is preposterous. He doesn't just see the play happening, he sees where his teammates will be and sends the ball there before they even arrive. It's the kind of premeditated genius that makes defenses feel completely helpless. He's Chris Paul in transition, Hakeem Olajuwon on the block, an uncanny mix of John Stockton and Karl Malone in the pick and roll. And when the moment calls for it, he'll casually hit a step-back three like he's Steph Curry. None of this is supposed to work. But here's the thing, it works perfectly.
Feistiness, got right into his team. Look at Jokić.
For the past 2 decades, the NBA has evolved into a game of pace and space. Gone are the days when teams built their offenses around post-heavy, back-to-the-basket centers. The last traditional big man to win MVP before Jokić, Shaq, all the way back in 2000. Ever since, the league has belonged to perimeter-oriented superstars. LeBron, Curry, Durant. The rules favor guards and wings. The modern NBA wasn't designed for a player like Jokić to thrive. And yet, he's dominating anyway. He plays with the footwork and patience of an old-school big, but his passing and decision-making are built for today's pace and space offense. His adaptability is off the charts, and no matter how defenses adjust, he always seems one step ahead. Now, Jokić doesn't fit the mold of a dominant big man. He's not explosive, he doesn't tower over defenders like Shaq, and he's not sending shots into the third row like Mutombo. Instead, he operates with a slow, deliberate style, one that looks unassuming, but is impossible to stop. What he lacks in athleticism, he more than makes up for with skill, footwork, and a level of basketball IQ that bends defenses to his will. He's got the touch to hit threes, the craft to finish with either hand in the post, and a ridiculous almost one-legged fadeaway that's earned him comparisons to Dirk Nowitzki.
Jokić just knocks it down.
His movement isn't fluid in the traditional sense. His shooting form looks absurd, but he plays like water flowing over rocks, effortlessly finding the path of least resistance. At 6'11", 284 pounds, Jokić isn't just a finesse player. He's also a bulldozer with a master's degree in spatial awareness. He seals off defenders, creates angles for easy entry passes, and finishes with absurd efficiency. He's hit 55.9% of his career shots, 36.0% from deep, and 82.7% from the free throw line. Numbers good enough to give him a true shooting percentage of 63.7%, ranking among the best big men ever. But for all his inside-out scoring, it's his passing that makes him special. Jokić isn't just a great passing big, he's one of the best passers in NBA history, period. He doesn't just find open teammates, he manipulates defenses to create openings that didn't exist a second ago. He threads passes through impossible gaps, throws full-court outlets like a quarterback, and delivers pinpoint touch passes in traffic. No other center has ever dished out assists at this volume while running an entire offense.
Looking for a foul, he didn't get it. Length of the court to Murray, and he puts it away!
Jokić has led the NBA in front-court touches for 6 straight seasons, meaning the entire offense flows through him. His presence forces defenses into impossible choices. Help on his post-ups, and he'll make you pay with a perfect pass. Stay home, and he'll methodically carve out space for an easy bucket. There's nowhere to hide, no weak link to exploit. Miss a shot? Jokić will grab the rebound and ignite a fast break himself. Try to double him. He'll find a cutter before you even react. He orchestrates offense from the elbow more than anyone in the league, sets massive screens to free teammates, and throws more passes per game, whether it's a 90-foot dime or a quick touch pass, than any player in recent memory. Jokić isn't just an elite center, he's a one-man offensive system, rewriting the blueprint for what a big man can be.
3 minutes to go. Jokić has it, come underneath, on count of it goes! It goes!
That said, plenty of players rack up double-doubles. Some centers even dish out assists at a respectable rate, but almost no one in NBA history has ever combined these numbers like Nikola Jokić. And while box score stats can sometimes be misleading when it comes to team success, the deeper you dig into the advanced metrics, the more unreal Jokić becomes. Because here's the reality, every advanced stat you can think of ranks Jokić among the greatest to ever play. His player efficiency rating isn't just great, it's the best of all time, putting him ahead of legends like Jordan and LeBron. His box plus-minus is the highest in NBA history, meaning no player has had a greater impact per minute on the floor. He leads all players in the offensive box plus-minus in win shares per 48, proving that no one generates more value for their team than he does. And with a career true shooting percentage of 63.7%, Jokić isn't just putting up numbers, he's scoring with historic efficiency. No matter how you slice it, Jokić is one of the most statistically dominant players the NBA has ever seen, and arguably the most valuable player a team has ever had. Whether he's bringing the ball up to initiate the offense, swinging it cross-court to create a secondary action, or finishing a possession with a soft-touch floater, everything Denver does runs through him.
Now Jokić into the lane, and Jokić puts it up.
At this point, Jokić is the sun at the center of the Nuggets' offensive universe, and that's because his game isn't modeled after any single player. It's an evolution of the greatest qualities from multiple legends. He's got the footwork of Hakeem Olajuwon, the interior touch of Wilt Chamberlain, and the passing instincts of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. So whether you measure his impact through traditional stats, advanced analytics, or historical comparisons, one thing is clear: Nikola Jokić is one of the most overwhelming forces the NBA has ever seen. However, no matter how dominant a player is, there will always be scrutiny. Just look at Michael Jordan and LeBron James. At their peaks, there were no glaring weaknesses opponents could exploit. That's the standard we hold all-time greats to. So naturally, Jokić faces the same level of evaluation. And when you analyze his game deeply enough, one area of concern stands out: his defense. Jokić isn't an elite defender, and that fact slightly affects his overall impact. But the truth is, the world has never seen a true point center before. Because of that, it's easy to misunderstand what he does and doesn't bring to the table defensively. Instead of viewing him as a center who initiates offense, a more accurate perspective might be seeing him as a point guard who defends centers. Jokić is tasked with generating a massive portion of the Nuggets' offense, especially in high-stakes playoff situations. Naturally, this puts a strain on his defensive responsibilities. In past MVP discussions, his defense has been a hot topic of debate. However, over the years, he's significantly improved, proving to be a smarter positional defender who leverages his high basketball IQ and anticipatory skills to disrupt plays.
In the lead. Now Finney-Smith. And Sharp.
His ability to make clutch stops and his defensive awareness have been crucial in pivotal moments. While he's never been a dominant rim protector, he has developed the ability to play up on ball handlers in the pick and roll, forcing turnovers and altering passing lanes, helping Denver improve defensively as a whole. The issue isn't that Jokić is bad defensively, it's that he defends in an unconventional way. That perception has led to unfair criticism, despite the fact that he's more than capable in many defensive situations. He may never be an all-defensive player, but when viewed through the lens of a point guard rather than a traditional big man, his impact makes more sense. As long as the Nuggets continue surrounding him with defensive talent and length, Jokic's so-called defensive weakness won't be a major issue. And if history has proven anything, it's that Jokić always finds a way to get the job done, even if it looks different from what we're used to seeing. See, right from the moment scouts first noticed him, Nikola Jokić as an ideal center never quite made sense. A 7-footer shouldn't be able to sling passes like a point guard, shoot with the efficiency of an elite wing, or control the game from nearly every spot on the floor. And if such a player did exist, there's no way they'd fall to the second round of the draft, selected with a pick so insignificant that it was announced during a Taco Bell Quesarito commercial. He wasn't supposed to stick around for a long time, let alone dominate to win MVPs, shatter records, and deliver a championship to a franchise that had never won one before. Yet here we are. Against all odds, against all conventional basketball logic, Jokić isn't just one of the greatest players of all time, he's unquestionably the best player in the world right now. And the scary part? He's nowhere near finished, and there's no reason to believe Jokić can't win more MVPs, more championships, and rewrite even more record books. Simply put, Jokić isn't just good, he's great, all-time great. Let me know in the comments, do you think Jokić is on his way to becoming a top 5 player of all time? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more NBA breakdown.